Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. This is the show that dives into the big question, what's in it for me, for both the business and its customers? On each episode, we sit down with a business owner or leader to uncover their why, their values, and the stories that drive them to grow their business. Joining me today on the Growing Your Business podcast is Jennie Hebert with ABear Insurance. Jennie, thank you for being in the studio today.
Thank you so much for letting me be here.
Let's jump right in with, I want to talk about what you do for your customers, and then I want to follow up with the name of the business. So first, what do you do for your customers?
For my customers, I provide very personalized service. It's about calling and being able to speak directly to a person. And in the insurance industry, that's so much better than calling an 800 number or somebody that you don't know, or you can never get back to the same person.
So it's the human side of insurance.
Absolutely.
We're dealing with people here and their needs. That's excellent. How did you name your company?
So my last name is of French origin from southern Louisiana there, and it's spelled Hebert, and everybody pronounces it Herbert, but it actually phonetically would be Hebert,
Right.
but it is pronounced ABear, just like a bear in the forest. So I named my agency ABear, ABear, with a bear logo in the forest, in
Nice.
the mountains, actually. So
Yeah, that's very pleasant. Tell me how long you've been in business?
7 years.
7 years.
Mhm.
What brought you into the insurance industry? You don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be in insurance.
No, you don't, I suppose. So for me, my dad passed away in 2016, and 3 weeks before he died, he says, "You're taking care of mom." And a week after he passed away, she ended up in the hospital, lost a lot of her memory. She did gain a significant amount back, but for a while there, it was very touch and go. And I had no idea who was paying for this and what had happened. And so I pulled these things out of her wallet, and she has a Social Security card. I did recognize that one, and 3 other cards, which I had no idea what they were. And so it was a Medicare card and a supplement card and a prescription drug card. So I started learning that. And then as she ended up moving, close to me, moving into a retirement community, and all of a sudden somebody found out that I knew had something, which wasn't much at the time, but they all came to me and I started helping them. Then I went through a life change, a divorce, where after raising and homeschooling 10 children and suddenly I was needing to support myself. Fortunately, they were mostly grown. But anyway, and I literally God dropped Medicare into my lap. After learning that, I did not pursue it, but it literally just showed up. And oh my goodness, it fit the bill because I love to teach. And so I learned it all and began teaching it to people so that they could make good choices.
So out of necessity,
It
was born ABear
was.
That's wonderful. And you've been at it for 7 years. So you started off helping people just out of their necessity. Obviously, I'm sorry for the loss of your father. But, in that and taking care of your mother and then taking care of others, you've been doing this for 7 years. Tell me about the types of things you offer now. I mean, because you've evolved in all this time, you've seen market changes and things that are available to your customers.
Correct.
Talk to me about the types of things they look to you for your offering.
So, I started in Medicare, which is generally for people over 65, under 65 with disabilities and a few things. And then have kind of added Marketplace just because it was a natural thing in there, which is, you're under 65 without employer coverage. And then long-term care, life insurance, dental, vision, hearing, and cancer, those types of ancillary products.
Excellent. So if you're listening, you hear any of those, give Jennie a call and you can start there.
Mm-hmm.
What is the typical engagement? Like, let's say the first phone call. Like, I don't know what I don't know. So when I call you, what do we start talking about on the phone?
Well, where you are, again, it kind of depends, as far as Medicare Marketplace, both of those are government related programs, which means they are very difficult to maneuver. Your Google information. I just had a fellow this afternoon, in fact, he said, I think of myself as pretty smart. I'm in the financial industry. I am really with it. And this is crazy. He was, again, getting on Medicare, and it's kind of been a bit of a mess. And he says, wow, he was just shocked at what it is. So that's Medicare. Marketplace isn't much different. And then, with the other products, life and health, I will say everybody needs it. And they just don't know they need it. Those are actually harder because, as you know, we all need life insurance, or I think we do anyway.
Yeah. Because you don't know when. It's one of those things you don't know when you're going to need it, and you really are glad you have it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what do you do? So people who's the ideal candidate to reach out to you? I want to say anybody, but I mean, who's really
Well,
reaching out to you? Maybe that's the
again, it's kind of targeted differently, but
Yeah.
for a Medicare person, this is super important. Don't wait till you're turning 65. Reach out before, because there are some things that matter. You need to plan for it. Medicare is not free. For Marketplace, it's somebody's, they're becoming self-employed. They're not going to have health insurance anymore. So as they reach out to me, I think the question you had asked that I didn't answer was, it's just about fact finding. It's just about saying where you are, what has brought you to this. Just spoke with another person again today. He's actually homeless, and, he's been going to a free clinic with no insurance. And, we're trying to figure out a way to get him some Marketplace insurance. So, so all different needs, from wide variety of, what we go, but it's just fact finding and just talking, hearing a person's needs.
Yeah.
So
how can I prepare myself well for that first call?
Just the information of where what you're looking for Medicare. I need drugs. Sometimes I will need doctors, depending on what choices we go. The same thing for Marketplace. I need to know your income, your household income, who's in your household, and what your health needs are. So we can, that totally depends on what plan we're able to pick there. According to, if you're very sick, we're going to pick a different plan than if you're not, and your budget.
So, Jennie, let's say that I'm advocating for another person. Let's say I have an adult in my life or someone who really can't. I'm helping them. How can you help me help them? Someone who, let's say, has, offline we talked about dementia or whatnot. Someone who has a condition that they can't really advocate for themselves.
Yes, I get this call on a regular basis, so I'll go over the one that I had this week. So Eduardo calls and says, Jennie, I'm so sorry. My mother has switched plans again. And so sure enough, somebody called and said, I can get you more money back on your Social Security. Well, it's a give back plan. So her mom switched plans. It's actually past the time when we can normally take care of it. So it's going to take several hours of pleading with Medicare to maybe make an exception. But again, she hasn't been declared with dementia. She just might take a drug. So that's another whole issue. I encourage people to please get your power of attorneys in place for your aging parents. So anyway, what we did with her is just, I'm going to have to spend several hours on Medicare. And, this is where I go and just having a personal agent, and I don't know if they all do this, but literally I have my label maker, and we brainstormed her, and I was like, how can we help your mom without, in any way infringing on, showing respect for her, and say, Mom, you can't answer these phone calls, and, how to help her. So I'm going to print out some little labels, and we're going to put them on her little flip phone that say, don't answer if you don't know who it is. If you happen to answer, call me, your daughter, have them call me, and have her mom's number right there. Her daughter's number, right there handy. So, right down to how can we fix this problem, printing out the label. And it's not about the business or, about me getting business or anything. It's just about helping her, because that plan switch mean a higher out of pocket. She lost her dental coverage and higher copays for everything, which she cannot, she needs to be on the other plan. And, her daughter confirmed that and makes those choices for her. But it can happen so easily on the phone, and it happens regularly.
Yeah, and those are solicitations, and you're on a call list. Someone's going to call you. If you don't, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, if you don't recognize the number, don't answer. I think that's good advice for anybody.
Yes,
anywhere.
let them leave a message. If it's important, you can call them back.
Yep.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this. Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard. Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles.
So let's talk about the, for lack of better terms, fraud and
Mm-hmm.
solicitations and things like that. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, in your business, like anyone's business, AI is a thing, and it's happening constantly. So what are you seeing out there, and how can you navigate it, short of putting Post-its, like you said, on there on your phone?
Well, I do try to educate. And again, I'm talking with my clients 1 or 2, 3 times a year, sending a newsletter here and there. I very much like paper in the mail newsletters where they can see pictures and then encouraging them not to return any card for more information. If somebody offers you a food benefit or whatever benefit, usually very often it's food or more money back on your Social Security, just call me, because if it's there, I know about it. As an independent broker, I don't work for a company. I work for all the companies. I'm contracted. If I'm not contracted with them, I can get the contract. But I have them all. If you see it, I can get it for you. And I can tell you, okay, we'll get you $85 more back on your Social Security, but you're going to give up this, this, and this, and this. And then they go, oh, okay, well, they didn't tell me that. Well, no, they didn't. Because soon as they enroll you, they're that person's. That person is getting paid. And, honestly, the way it works is as long as you're my client, I continue to get something.
Yeah.
I don't get paid extra to switch you. So, once people are with me, they're with me and they stay with me because I'm somebody they can just pick up the phone and call. I get them all the time. They call, Jennie, I saw this. You know it. I said, no, that one's not true either. Okay, I just needed to check with you because I really could use this, benefit. So,
I mean, are there regulations in place that you're aware of that to kind of stop some of the misinformation or the solicitation?
well, they keep tightening down. They just passed another one that tightens down our marketing, what we can do. And basically we weren't allowed to share plan information. Like I couldn't say XYZ company has this much dental. I couldn't say that, which is fine. But I could say they have dental benefits, and I could explain how companies have dental benefits, or more importantly, some of the medical benefits. And now even the educational part has to all be CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services approved. And again, I'm talking specifically here for Medicare because it is where most of that fraud and stuff happens. So they're tightening down, but the independent agents are honestly not who they need to be targeting. It is call centers. 100%. It's call centers. And then for Marketplace, huge deal last year. Anybody could go on that had your basic information and literally switch themselves and make themselves the agent of record. Fortunately, a number of those are on their way to jail this year. But it took several years for them to put those in place. And finally, we have to go through extra steps to enroll. But they're well worth it because there was just no regulations in it. And you could call me and say I make $70,000 a year, and because Marketplace is based on your current year income, so I go in, and if I put your income as $50,000, I'm going to say I can get you a plan for $50 a month, and you say awesome, but I put in $50,000 and you never saw. And you had told me $70,000, but I put in $50,000, and you think you got a great premium, but comes tax time, it's going to come back to bite you. And but very easy to do that, to flip a client,
Right.
and
Those are
say,
the
oh,
tricks
the
they
other
use.
argument. And
Yeah.
yet we're all offering the same plans. I
Yeah.
mean, I could have, but they were.
That's how they're tipping the scale.
They are. They're
Yeah.
misentering your information. So
Yeah.
there are protections in place for that. But that just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, those
Wow.
protections just late last year.
So what I'm hearing is that as an individual is this is why you talk to a person you know,
Yes.
and a person you trust, and maintain that relationship.
Yep. Text me, call me. You can reach back out to me, call me back at this number. You can see I am a real number, I'm a real person.
So before we close, Jennie, parting thoughts for people who are seeking advice and help in your industry.
Reach out to an independent agent. I'd love for it to be me. I'm here. But in general, just if it's not me, I'm only licensed in the state of Texas. I can refer you to somebody who is an independent agent if you're outside of Texas. But it makes a difference. And, we're here not only to help you enroll in your health plans, we're here as a resource. So when your mom needs home health care and you don't know who to call, hey, I have some home health care people that I know, like, and trust. Even when you need a roofer, give me a call. I can help. Just as a resource in your life for all these things that you don't know. When you can't Google, I have clients who you just overwhelmed by that. I'll help you Google. I'll help you find the providers you need or whatever. We're there after. So just make the connection. We help with the insurance and everything after the insurance and more carried on for as long as you need it.
That's terrific. Talk to a person, and as in someone
Mhm.
and then can build trust. So that's
Right.
great. So, Jenny, I've enjoyed this conversation, us talking to people right here together. It's been great to have you here in the studio, and I've enjoyed speaking with you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.